2 years after the Wall Street crash, the US housing market is still in crisis. Prices have crashed in many parts of America, and more than a third of all sales nationwide are now on foreclosed homes. Claims that some banks have cut corners to evict homeowners illegally have forced US Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke to announce a review of foreclosure practices. Despite almost giveaway prices, Americans lack either the cash or the confidence in the market. Increasingly, Australian investors are stepping in where Americans fear to tread. But are the bargains too good to be true? North America correspondent Michael Brissenden reports from Cape Coral in Florida.
Florida. For generations, it seems, Americans have flocked here to claim a boat ramp and a place in the sun to retire. Servicing God's waiting room kept the economy going and the real estate market booming. But when it all began to spin out of control, it span faster here than just about anywhere else.
If you're taking a house and you're taking it from $150,000, which is an affordable level, and you're cranking it out at $322,000, well, just look at the basic economics. The gentleman makes $35,000 a year down as a bartender. He can't afford $322,000, and if he can, that's called a subprime loan.
Today, Florida is one of the foreclosure capitals of the United States. Here, in some parts of Cape Coral, almost every third house is empty. It's been a dramatic fall. For decades, real estate and development have underpinned the Florida economy. Not so anymore. In fact, just a few years ago, this motel sold for $1.5 million. Now it's been foreclosed and it's on the market for just $300,000. But as the old saying goes, one person's crisis is another's opportunity. And here, that comes with a surprising twist.
Okay. Anything else
You're
I
on a
need
piece
to
of
know?
the US.
Yay.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Very exciting.
A national unemployment rate of nearly 10% and tight credit have hit the housing market hard. But international investors are now flocking to Florida to cash in. And with the dollar at record highs, more and more of those investors are coming from Australia.
They're buying condos for $20,000. They're buying houses for $50,000. That house that they're buying for $50,000 in Lehigh was $260,000 just 2 years ago. The house in Cape Coral that's 85 or 90, off-water home, newer, 3.2, 1,900 square feet, that was $322,000 December of 05 when we hit our all-time high.
Oh, amazing. It's particularly, this time now, it's nudging parity. That's incredible. So the value for us from Australia coming over now, when's it going to happen again? When are you going to have a market that is really, or you would hope, has almost bottomed out, and the Australian dollar at such strength?
It's opportunity. I mean, I'm sorry that we made some mistakes, and everybody wants to point the finger now on who made the mistakes. But looking forward, if you're a country that's unaffected, this is a golden opportunity. If you can afford to get on the water, people are going to return here. Yeah. So yeah, as long as you have faith in all of that, $20,000 condo all day long. Like, you should be telling me you want more.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
We do want more.
We do want more.
Yeah.
Kerry Reid is just one of many cashed-up Australians who've taken one of real estate agent Mark Joseph's tours of the canal-side bargains.
I've sold a property in Darwin and I'm able to buy five properties over here for the cash I've pulled out of that properties. One is what's termed a quadplex. I've bought two houses, two single-family homes, which I got at a good price in Cape Coral. What else have I got? I've got a duplex that's got Gulf access water.
Kerry Reid says she's prepared to take the long view and wait many years for the market to pick up. But some lawyers and economists here are starting to warn of a second wave of uncertainty that has the potential to cause even more havoc in the US real estate market.
Oftentimes there are deals that seem too good to be true, and in America we often say that if a deal seems too good to be true, it probably is.
Matthew Widener is an attorney who acts for foreclosure victims, now planning to go to the courts to get their houses back.
I'm very concerned about our American legal system, and so for Australians that are looking at purchasing property, I'd be very careful. when you buy a piece of property in the United States of America, there are real questions being raised now about whether you truly own that property fair and square.
It turns out thousands of foreclosures could be ruled invalid because of errors made by the organisation called MERS, the Mortgage Electronic Registration System, set up by the big US banks to more easily transfer securitized mortgages.
In the instance where a mortgage is originated, it can be sold on to one lender who sells it on to another lender who eventually puts it into a trust. So every time it changes hands, the title arguably changes. And so if there is a title recorded incorrectly, or if they just do it in like a blank name title, which is often common the case, it might not be clear who actually holds it.
And that is already emerging as a very big problem.
There's a tremendous amount of litigation and tremendous amount of litigation risk for the title insurers, for the lenders, really for anybody involved in the process right now today.
There are calls from some quarters here for a freeze on foreclosures. Some banks have voluntarily frozen foreclosures in some states. A lot of these mortgages are also held by the government lenders, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. And ultimately, economic analysts believe Congress will be forced to act to protect the whole foreclosure process. But Congress won't actually sit again until well after the November elections. And at the moment, the crisis appears to be outpacing the political response.
Obviously, if there's no clear ownership, then who has the right to actually foreclose? And that could be a problem. Now, I think most of it will get resolved, but this does have the potential, a very small chance of being a catastrophe.
Michael Brissenden reporting from the US.